Are we live? What up, people? It's your boy, the host with the most. I do not brag or boast. I'm coming to you guys live from coast to coast. It's your boy. I'm Chris and I'm one, and welcome to another edition of Too Early for This Podcast. I believe this is episode 12. How y'all living? I'm living swell. We're gonna have a good show today. Let's just go ahead and get into the business, okay? The first thing we're gonna talk about is Top of the Mood podcast. The host is Mr. Organik as well as Tall Guy. They talk about current events, things that's happening in hip hop culture, the culture, fashion, or just shooting the breeze. All right. So on this particular episode, they talked about the Young Thug situation. We all know about the Young Thug situation. Been living under a rock, allow your brother to explain. Young Thug is incarcerated right now. They got a RICO on Young Thug. A lot of people feel like he's going to beat this, but there's a lot of other people that feel like there's no way around it. He's going to be serving some major time. He's going to be serving some football number time, okay? Football jersey number time, like on the offensive line, maybe. But basically, Young Thug is got a RICO on him. Doesn't look good, from my opinion, from my viewpoint. Gunner was released. I feel like a couple of days ago, or maybe last week, or late last week, something like that. And a lot of people feel like Gunner, his statement in court. A lot of people say that he done snitch. Snitches get stitches. All that jazz. But there's other people that are fans of YSL, that are fans of Young Thug, that are fans of Gunner, that's pretty much co-signing with Gunner. You got people that's telling stories that Young Thug knew about this, and Young Thug probably popped some game to Gunner saying, "Look, YSL Records is still a business, and there's no need for both of us sitting up here doing major time. If you can figure out a way to get out of your situation and get home early, you're the major draw with YSL moving forward. Why there will continue to be a YSL. So Gunner and his attorney, which I feel like Young Thug and Gunner has the same attorney representing both of them. I could be totally wrong about this, but Gunner worked out a plea deal with the state, and he had to tell the truth on stand. Also, in his paperwork, he can be called up as a witness for the defense or the prosecution. A lot of people feel like Gunner is snitching. A lot of people, and there's a lot of people out there that feel like he's not snitching. That's co-signing with them, like basically implying that Young Thug knew about this, and this is okay from Young Thug's perspective. All right. Either way, so a lot of people were going, is this snitching or is this not snitching? Now, Tatashi 69 got on a Clubhouse podcast. I think it was Whack 100 or some podcast, some Clubhouse event, whatever, maybe Twitter Space, and basically said, "Look, when I had that exact situation go down on me, a lot of you guys out there that was saying that I snitched, okay? Uh, I snitched on, uh, I snitched to get myself out of a situation, particularly a bad situation. And y'all promoted this as this is the wrong thing to do, all right? Now, uh, when my situation is done, I'm free now, and Gunner's in that same situation. Everybody's not coming with the same energy. Everyone now is saying that Gunner did not snitch when he did the exact same thing I did. Okay. So Talk About the Move podcast talked about it, and they're pretty much Mr. Organik and Tall Guy is pretty much on the same pattern of thought with everyone out here, particularly in the hip hop culture, the music culture, that are fans of Gunner, saying that he did not snitch, and pretty much promoting the fact that it's okay to snitch. Okay, particularly if you don't like that individual, and if if you don't like him, you hate him so much, you want to see this individual in jail. Now that's what coming from the perspective of Mr. Organik. Tall guy was laughing about it. Now, Ice Cream Vlog talked about it in a recent video, saying, "Hey, how come y'all don't have that same energy, uh, for Gunner like you did with Atashi 69?" And basically saying that Mr. Organik and Tall Guy exposed themselves. They pretty much exposed themselves as, people that if you're going to do crimes with these individuals, it's best not to do it, because on first light, on the first opportunity, either one of them will snitch on you so they can get out of a situation. Particularly if they can't stand you, they can't tolerate you, they're going to snitch on you regardless. All right. Now, I said this in a live stream, and I also said this on my podcast. I'm Chris Down One Podcast. Be sure to follow that, subscribe to it, so we can get into the podcast algorithm. I'm on iTunes, Spotify, the Anchor app, wherever that you get your podcast indulgement from. Just type in "I'm Chris Down One Podcast," and I briefly talked about it. Now, I said, and before I tell you guys what I said, let's get back to Ice Cream Vlog. Now, there's a lot of things Ice Cream Vlog has said over a course of many years that I do not co-sign to. There are certain things that Ice Cream Vlog says that kind of makes sense. All right. However, with this situation, I have to lean to the side of Ice Cream Vlog because he's right. At the end of the day, what Gunner is doing, a lot of people are co-signing the fact that he is snitching out here. All right. He didn't like his situation. And in order for him to get out of that situation, he had to snitch on Young Thug so he could be a free man. Now, no matter how you spin this, I don't care how many times you spin it around the block, try to make sense out of sense. Gunner did snitch on, he gave up Young Thug for his freedom. Now, anyone in that situation, I'm pretty sure the majority of us would do the exact same thing as Gunner. However, I have to agree with Ice Cream Vlog. A lot of people are not giving the same energy to Gunner like they did to Atashi 69. And I said in my podcast that, everyone is hypocritical to a fault. All right. If someone that we don't like, all right, someone that we don't stand, we hold them accountable to the letter of the 13th law. All right. We hold them to a higher stature. Okay. Someone that we don't like, we can't stand them, we can't tolerate them. If they do anything that we can perceive as being wrong, we're going to say it. All right. However, if it's someone that's likable, that we like, we're going to put up, we're going to somehow, not be too harsh with them, try to understand them, try to say, well, if I was in that situation, I probably would have done the same thing, X, Y, Z, A, B, C. And this is a clear-cut example of the people that we like, the people that we put on pedestals. We give them all the opportunities, and we give them the opportunity to for understanding. We also give them the we give them a pass, so to say. But someone that we can't stand, we hate them on first sight. So a lot of things I don't agree with Ice Cream Vlog with. However, I have to agree with them on that. The same, we just don't keep the same energy for people that we like versus the people that we don't like. All right. And I remember doing a live stream talking about how Ice Cream Vlog was sort of kind of defending 1000 HP Media about waving the steel, waving the iron, toting that fire, all right, on video. And I thought that was a bad look for 1000 HP Media. And Ice Cream Vlog made a video saying, well, how come y'all don't have that same energy and keep that same energy when Rail to Real shows his piece? When Mr. Organik done multiple videos talking about his weapons. When Cali Muscle shows off his knives that he has in his pocket. How come you guys don't keep the same energy for those individuals like you do for 1000 HP Media? Now, for those out there that go by emotions and feelings, yes, I feel like this same rule applies. Those individuals, Rail to Real, Mr. Organik, Cali Muscle, those are likable individuals. And 1000 HP Media is not a likable individual. I like those individuals and 1000 HP Media. And if you've been following, when those guys did that at that particular time, I stand 10 toes down saying that's not a good look, fam. That is definitely not a good look to brash your weapon on live stream or on video. Okay. I didn't endorse it. I didn't co-sign it. I didn't try to make it so, make it right, make it make sense. I didn't do none of that stuff. All right. So I have to have the same energy when Rail to Real, Mr. Organik, and Kylie Muscle did it. I have to apply that same rule and logic and that same energy when 1000 HP Media did it. Now, truth be known, I like all of these individuals. I'm subscribed to all of them. Okay, Mr. Organik, Cali Muscle, 1000 HP Media, Rail to Real. I thoroughly enjoy their content. All right, but I kept the same energy when 1000 HP Media waved his weapon on video. I didn't think it was a good look for him. When Mr. Organik waved his weapon on live streams and multiple videos, I didn't think that was a good look for him either. Okay, so I kept the same energy for both people. All right, not because I'm subscribed to them. I just roll that way. I don't go by my feelings and emotions. I don't put feelings and emotions with these individuals. And yeah, that particular situation where Ice Cream Vlog made a video talking about he somehow exposed Top of the Moot podcast. I don't consider it exposing. I just consider it people are very hypocritical. They sometimes have amnesia about certain things. The same rules don't apply to everyone. So yes, when Atashi 69 snitched on his fellow people and got himself out of that situation, everyone called him a rat. And what Gunner is doing, if y'all gonna call Atashi 69 a rat by getting out of that situation, by giving up some information, so his time so he can be a free man. The same rule should apply for Gunner. Okay, so that's all I got for that. Unfortunately, I have to agree with Ice Cream Vlog, and I don't really agree with Ice Cream Vlog a lot, but in this situation, I have to agree and co-sign with Ice Cream Vlog. Okay, so moving on. All right, moving on. Next thing we're going to talk about is Romeo and P. Miller. I mean, Master P. It's just not looking good. They've been on social media pretty much telling their personal information, sharing their family information on social media. I don't think that's a good look personally. I think, when people post their private conversations or post what was being said or what's being done in their household or in their family, I feel like that's a cry for help, when people do that. And I don't think people are in the right frame of mind when they post their private issues on social media. I think they do it for attention. I think they do it because they're begging for help. All right. So if you've been living under a rock, allow your boy to explain. Basically, um, Master P wrote a post about the dancer known as Twitch. I think his name was Twitch God. I'm not 100% sure. He used to dance on the Ellen the Generous show. I always butcher her last name, but that's neither here nor there. And he also was on social media dancing up a storm, having happy thoughts and happy moments. This individual was, last week deleted himself. Um, uh, and there's a lot of information out there on why he did it. A lot of people felt like it was a financial thing, and he was stressed out financially and mentally. He just could not do that. But a lot of people are saying, and I've been watching E! News, it was much more deeper than that. Yeah, he was fighting demons. All right, but nevertheless, we lost someone because of their own demons. All right, so Master P wrote a post on Instagram, basically talking about this issue, and everything was fine, cozy, and adorable until Romeo. Um, wrote his own post and basically outed his father, talking about his father is never in his life. His father done cut him off. His father done pretty much took his money from his records and stuff to pay his taxes, and now they're broke. His father lives in this big house. His father is not listening to no one. Is either his way or the highway, yada yada yada. All right, now P Miller replied back talking about the post itself. He was basically talking about the dancer, and as far as his son and his family go, he felt like they should talk about this behind closed doors. And then he made another video, and Romeo made another post, pretty much outing him again, and Master P made a final video, basically saying, saying that they have ups and downs just like any other family, and he kind of wished that his son would communicate with them, but it's hard to communicate with his son because his son doesn't want to talk to him. All right, so a lot of people were commenting on this. Lovely T commented on this. Carcino for Life commented on this. Everyone was weighing in their thoughts and their opinions about this whole ordeal. And I just want to say this, all right? I basically want to say this. I feel like as far as family go, if you have an issue with your mother, your father, your sister, your brother, or maybe your mother and father has issues with him, I feel like you guys should work it out behind closed doors. I think you should work it out with your family member. Now, if there's someone who's unwilling to work it out behind closed door, then you probably need to get some professional help. You probably need someone that could delegate, pretty much be a middleman between the two, and somehow, some way, figure out a way where they can make this work. Maybe talking to a counselor, a preacher. There's just so many ways to handle your personal problems, family problems behind closed doors. I think the one thing you shouldn't do is advertise your business, your bad business about your family life, And you really shouldn't do it on social media. I think it's a huge no-no. And like I said earlier, when people do this, this is a sign for help. You're basically implying that you need help with something, and it's just something really seriously going on. All right. Now, with all that said, and listening to Master P and his son, I feel like there's some anger issues with both sides. And I don't think these two hate each other. I just feel like they have a difference of opinion about one another. I feel like Master P, as successful as he is, well, in the past, I really think he levies on what he has done in the past and basically say, look, if I can do this in X amount of years, how come you can't do this in X amount of years? And he just has a high and mighty power about himself. I feel like with Romeo, I feel like Romeo is a young adult, even though he's 33 years old. But he's 33 years old in age, but he probably isn't 33 years old as far as responsibilities go. Okay, because you have to understand, at a young age, everything was catered to him. He didn't have to work for nothing. He didn't have to have a summer job, and he didn't have any responsibilities other than, make music and play video games. That's pretty much it. And sometimes when you get it so easy at a young age, sometimes that could be it could be a curse to you. All right. You're expecting that. Okay. You're saying to yourself, okay, it's coming so fast and so easy when I was 12, 14, 16, 18. Okay. Well, I'm going to still maintain this lifestyle even beyond 18. All right. But when reality sets in, you start noticing, okay, everything is not coming as fast as it used to come. All right. So you got that situation. All right. So when you look at Master P, on the other hand, this man done remarried. He has a new wife, has some new kids, and that can be an issue with your older family. I mean, with your first family. Uh, you may be treating the new family a little bit differently than the old family. You might have a mentality of, well, I took care of you guys from X amount of years. Okay, now you guys have to take care of yourselves, and I can't help you anyway because I have this new family, and that can pretty much give um that could pretty much be hard for you as far as establishing a line of communication with your old family, particularly with your wife, particularly when things didn't end very well with your first wife. And now the kids are pretty much against you and for their mother, and that can cause strain and stress in the relationship with your son as well as the relationship with your daughters. All right, not to mention the fact these guys had some losses of their own. I believe his daughter done deleted herself. So you got all that playing in the background, and you're trying to bring a new family in this situation. And I also feel like P. Miller isn't the same. Isn't the same. Percy Miller isn't the same individual like he was back in the '90s, in the early '90s. All right, it's just the way it is, And I don't think they're broke by any stretch of the imagination, but they're in a situation where they're pretty much in a situation where their times are not rough, but it ain't like it was in the early 90s. Just put it that way. They don't have uh, FU money, okay? They just don't have an abundance of funds. And the money Master P is making is not as the same like it was in the 90s. And now he's trying to stretch this out into two families. And that's where the division and the dividing coming from. He's pretty much saying, look, son, you're 33, you have your own kids. It's time for you to stop living off me and live off yourself. But his son is saying, look, I expect a lot more from you, particularly I made sacrifices as far as the money I was making with you. You took that money and paid your taxes when you had issues with the I, the R, the S, those alphabet boys. Okay. So Master P's son is expecting a little bit more gratitude from his father because he feels like he's been really loyal to the soil with his father, and then on the other side, the appearance, his father appears to be like, look, I got my own situation, I got my own family. It's been real, it's been fun, but it hasn't been real and fun. And he's cutting ties with his older family, and sometimes it's tough. It is very rough when you're not making what you used to make, and now the money that you are making, you pretty much have to stretch this out with your new family as well as your old family, as well as your sons, your daughters, things of that nature. So there's a I feel like it's a lack of communication, a lack of disrespect, a lack of understanding that if Master P and Romeo really want this to work out, they're going to have to sit down and make some adjustments as far as making this work out. Okay. But yeah, that's all I got with the Master P situation. I hope these two figure it out. They need to stay off of social media, though. I just feel like social media can be a bad situation. I feel like you shouldn't. I feel like you shouldn't have your business out there on social media. That's just me. All right. So, moving on. Definitely moving on. So basically, basically, um, the Megan the Stallion and Tory Lane situation is about to close in shop, and they're about to rest their case, the prosecution and the defense, and we'll probably have a finale about this case early next week, or maybe because you got to realize I think Sunday is Christmas, and I think Tuesday or Wednesday is the is New Year's Day, and I don't think court is going to be in session next week. They'll probably return Thursday or Friday, and then they're going to close. The prosecution and defense is going to close. They're going to have their closing arguments and figure out whether or not Tory Lane is guilty or Megan the Stallion is guilty. Now, if you've been living under a rock, allow your boy to explain. I'm not going to go all the way from day one. I'm just going to go all the way from yesterday. A witness testified saying that he saw Tory Lane, the driver, Meg the Stallion, and Kelsey, as well as I believe Megan the Stallion's bodyguard was in this situation. And they're arguing, and the argument turned into a fist fight between the two girls. The witness said Tory Lane, as well as the bodyguard, were basically breaking the situation up. Tory Lane, basically Kelsey went to the truck, grabbed that tool, and they said, now I feel like he didn't say Kelsey, all right, but I feel like it was Kelsey. Allegedly, let's use the word allegedly. He said it was a girl that grabbed the gun first, and the gun shot 3 times. All right. Pop, pop, pop. Then Tory Lanez jumps out of the vehicle, tries to grab the gun away from the girl, and it popped 2 more times. Pop, pop. Now, let's talk about I felt like when I first heard this story and they said the gun fired 5 times, it fired 3 times, and then it paused, and then it fired 2 more times. I felt like those other 2 times there was a struggle there. Like someone was trying to take the gun away from someone, particularly someone that doesn't have experience with a gun. All right. When you don't have experience with the gun, you're probably going to keep your finger on the trigger. And that's when I felt like those last 2 pops were not intentional. I feel like those last 2 gunshots were, an accident. Those last 2 shots wasn't meant for anybody, but there was a struggle with the gun. Now, I've been on point saying that. I also been on point saying I didn't believe Tory Lane did this, all right, because the story was not making a lot of sense. There was no motive for Tory Lanez to draw that fire, to draw that tool on, Meg Thee Stallion or anybody. All right. So that we have been hearing reports that Kelsey and Meg Thee Stallion were fighting in the car, and judging by the video, both of these women barely had no clothes on, or barely had clothes on. That indicates to me that they were fighting. Kelsey talked about how her bracelet was broken during the struggle. So you got that aspect. And I felt like Tory Lane really didn't have any reason to fire the gun. All right. Now this witness corroborates what I've been speculating all along. And I felt like the only one that would have a motive to use a gun, okay, would either be Kelsey or Meg Thee Stallion. And allow your brother to explain, because I know people are going to say, well, why are you saying only those 2 names? I felt like in the situation with Kelsey, I felt like if she felt like her life was threatened by Meg Thee Stallion after the altercation, or if it wasn't over for Kelsey, then she would have grabbed that tool, grabbed that steel. With Meg Thee Stallion, I felt like also it could have been her using the tool in self-defense. If she was losing the fight, or she feel like she was going to get ganged up, she probably would have grabbed the tool as far as protection goes. All right. So, and the rest of the stuff they were saying, before this went to trial, it just didn't make sense. Tory Lane saying dance, dance, bitch, dance. That didn't make any sense. The gun itself, how the gun was positioned, that didn't make sense. Kelsey and Meg Thee Stallion saying they left the party, but they didn't come back to the party, only to later on found out they did go back to the party because Meg Thee Stallion was pretty jealous of the fact that Tory Lanez was still at the party, and she made up some type of excuse that she done left her shoes at the party, so she told them to turn around so she can get her shoes, knowing that's a full-blown lie. It was just accumulation of stuff that just did not make sense whatsoever. All right, and I've been saying this on my podcast that a lot of this stuff just did not make a lot of sense in my opinion. Well, this witness testified yesterday, and he confirmed a lot of things that I wanted answers for. So I had a lot of questions. He answered the majority of them, not all of them, but the majority of them. Now, I will say this witness is kind of flaky. I don't think this is the smoking gun type of witness because there was a lot of holes in his story that just didn't make sense. First, he said when he didn't see a gun, then he saw a gun. Then he didn't see the gun when the females were holding it, but he saw a gun when Tory Lanez was holding it. And like I said, emotions are running high, and maybe in a certain angle, he didn't see the female, he didn't actually see the gun, and maybe she was in the shadows when she was firing it. But when the girl did fire it, it registered in his head that this is not a drill. This is real. This is not fireworks. This is an actual gun going off. All right. So you got that aspect. Uh, and then who knows when Tory Lane was struggling with the gun and he finally got the gun, maybe he was in the light and he saw Tory Lane with the gun. So lighting can play a huge factor and positioning can play a huge factor as well. All right. So I'm just throwing that out there. All right. So the witness testified and he was kind of flaky. There was some holes in his story, but nevertheless, he was more credible than Meg the Stallion and Kelsey. Meg the Stallion on her first day. I told you guys on the podcast, I felt like that was the dumbest thing to do was to put Meg the Stallion on the stand. I felt like they should have had another strategy because I didn't think that was going to placate or work well on the behalf of Meg the Stallion. When she got on stage, when she got when she got on the stand, there was a lot of holes in her story, and a lot of stuff didn't make sense. And she did more harm than good as far as her case go. Kelsey, a lot of people felt like Kelsey was going to be more of a bigger impact in this case than Meg the Stallion, but Kelsey was kind of flaky back and forth. Obviously, Tory Lanez is not going to take the stand. And this individual who had a house close to the street where they were at, he pretty much corroborated a lot of questions that a lot of people had. He answered most of those questions, but he too looks, at the end of the day, looks flaky. Now, the DA wanted at the last minute to charge Tory Lane for bribery, for the statement that they talked about. I believe this was in day 2 or day 1. I think it was day 2 where Tory Lanez basically tried to bribe Kelsey and Meg the Stallion, saying, "Look, I'll give you guys $1 million a piece if you don't say anything. I got some deals and stuff in order. I just don't want this to get out and it messes up my bag. And now I'm fumbling my bag, at the gold line. Okay, this would have been an easy walk in the park touchdown. Now I done fumbled the bag, and now I'm not going to get my money." Okay, and that story, I felt like that story was kind of odd. Didn't make no sense because if you look at Meg Thee Stallion, like it or not, love it or hate it, I feel like Meg Thee Stallion as a performer definitely makes more money than Tory Lanez. All right. And that whole story of itself, it just didn't make sense for Tory Lane. I just didn't think Tory Lane had a deal that massive and that big where he's going to be making millions upon millions and he's willing to give that deal up and give $1 million to Meg Thee Stallion, $1 million to Kelsey. And at the end of the day, look, Meg Thee Stallion is going to pack at that particular time. Meg Thee Stallion is going to it's going to pack more arenas than Tory Lanez. Okay, particularly when everyone thought that Tory Lanez was lying about the whole situation and Meg Thee Stallion was the victim. Now, as far as Kelsey goes, now she would love to have $1 million, but Kelsey's in a situation where she too don't have to jeopardize her freedom, because when they find out that you did take a bribe, not only Tory Lanez is going to jail, but you're going to jail too. All right. So I just didn't see Kelsey accepting that. I just didn't believe that whole story. And it comes to find out that was a lie. Okay. But the DA wanted to add that in, and the judge said, no, that don't, we're at the home stretch. We're about to wrap this up. Okay. Obviously, Meg Thee Stallion's team don't have any evidence, don't have any witnesses that can pull a W out of this situation. And if you look at Kelsey's team, Tory Lanez team, excuse me, Tory Lanez team, all they simply had to do was play this down the middle. All right, they didn't have to bring any witnesses or evidence. All they had to do was, have some great strategy on the evidence and the witnesses that Meg Thee Stallion team tried to produce, and they crashed and burned on it. All right. Obviously, the Los Angeles Police Department fumbled the bag as well. They butchered this whole entire investigation, which isn't a news flash for anybody. All right, because this is the same police department that butchered the Notorious B.I.G. situation and the Tupac situation. So there are notoriously, some wordplay there, notoriously B.I.G. F up a lot of cases because of their sloppiness. All right. I don't know if they're sloppy or they just look at it as, it's just one black entertainer that's in the ground. We're not going to really investigate this. We're just going to call it a cold case and keep it pushing, keep it 100. All right. So, I feel like at the end of the day, this is not looking good for Meg Thee Stallion. If you're a Meg Thee Stallion fan, this is not looking good on her side. I feel like this case is going to be thrown out. I feel like in best case scenario, this case is going to be thrown out. Worst case scenario, now WAC 100 implied that Meg Thee Stallion could possibly go to jail. I don't believe that. I don't see a scenario where Meg Thee Stallion is going to go to jail because of this. I feel like this case is going to be thrown out. I think the police department, the Los Angeles Police Department, are going to look bad in this situation. I feel like the defense, the prosecution, the city, they're going to look bad at this situation because basically they don't wasted a lot of man hours, a lot of time on something that was not true. This is Jesse Smollett all over again. But I feel like Los Angeles is going to do it differently than Chicago. They're just going to basically call it a mistrial and just keep it pushing and move it on, try to stay away from this situation. I feel like Meg Stein's not going to get any jail time. Tory Lanez is going to be cleared on all. He's going to be cleared of all charges, but the damage has already been done to Meg Thee Stallion and Tory Lanez, and I'm going to explain to you guys real fast and real quick why the damage is done to these two individuals. I feel like with Meg Thee Stallion, this is going to look real bad for her and real ugly for her. I feel like it would not surprise me none if Rock Nation just drops her, because at the end of the day, it's just too much drama to deal with Meg Thee Stallion. Also, Meg Thee Stallion as a performer, she's not the same draw like she was 2 or 3 years ago. She's not as hot like she used to be. Okay, particularly when you got even younger female rappers like Glorilla tearing it up, and they're the new wave. And unfortunately, Meg Thee Stallion missed her wave, missed her opportunity. And Rock Nation is not going to make any more money off Meg Thee Stallion, uh, not only because of this situation. It's just Meg Thee Stallion has turned off a lot of her fans. I don't think Meg Thee Stallion makes good music anymore. She had that one small hit, that the hot girl ish. I mean, that was pretty decent, but this situation, as well as the messy divorce with her and her old label, is just too much baggage for an artist that you're not going to get the best results from. It would not surprise me if Rock Nation either drops her or figure out some type of settlement with her old label where, they're not giving up a lot of money or giving up a lot of resources just to get Meg the Stallion with Rock Nation. And this is reputation wise, she's not going to be able to rebound from this, and it's not going to look good for her. Okay, so that's based on what I'm saying. Now with Tory Lane's situation, even though he's innocent, people are going to always say that he was guilty of something. And if you look at Tory Lane's music career, I don't think a lot. He's not popping like he once was popping. Back before he got indicted. Now, at the end of the day, all it takes is just one hit from either one of these artists, a collaboration by either one of these artists. If Tory Lanez collaborates with the right one, he'll be back in the stars again. The same thing could apply for Meg Thee Stallion. But I just think they're going to throw this out of court, but I don't think there's going to be any winner chicken dinners in this situation. All right, but it is what it is. Okay, so moving on, moving on, moving on. So Mr. LaTruth and Ms. LaTruth are back in the news again for all the wrong reasons. Okay. The on again, off again, off again, on again social media couple. I don't know if they're together or they're not together. Well, Mr. LaTruth posted a video on his YouTube channel as well as social media, and it was a short clip of the infamous argument that they had a few weeks ago, and why they have issues with one another. So apparently, we finally get to the meat and potatoes of why they had this major argument where Mr. LaTruth allegedly used a tote as a weapon and bumped into Ms. LaTruth, and she was crying, and she called Johnny Law. She called the police department, and now she's filling out paperwork for a divorce, yada yada yada. But once again, they're together. They're not together. I don't know what's going on with these two. Like I said, it was interesting when it was hot, but right now it's not. Anyway, he posted this video saying a conversation with him and his wife. Basically, his wife is upset at him because he didn't want to adopt the kids that she had in a previous relationship. And he's saying, no, I'm not going to adopt them because, that means if we get a divorce, you're going to get even more money from me and this, that, and the third. Now, when this video came out, to me, this felt like this was staged a little bit. This felt like this is not legit. All right. And they're just placating off the success they done had thus far with their major argument, which they have both A lot of people feel like that was staged as well. Both of them has changed the story a little bit, but they have changed it. And I'm gonna be honest with you guys. Let's just say hypothetically this is true. And the reason why Ms. LaTruth is upset with Mr. LaTruth is because he's not going to adopt the other kids. Now, it's a tricky situation. You know what I'm saying? I feel like if Mr. LaTruth and Ms. LaTruth were boyfriend and girlfriend for a short period of time, and they got possibly married. They probably been together for like 2 or 3 years, and then she comes up with this uh excuse of, well, I want you to marry, I want my kids to be adopted by you. Then I can see Mr. LaTruth hesitant on that. However, you've been with this girl for quite some time. You should have some thought in your head that this day was going to come. So either do one or two things. Either tackle this head on or just wait until it's laid out. I think this is a situation like that. You should have talked to her a while back on whether or not you're going to adopt her kids from a previous relationship. Now, again, he shouldn't be forced to do something he doesn't want to do. All right. But uh that's what's going on in this clip. I I call flag on the play on this clip. This clip seems to me orchestrated a little bit. I don't think these guys actually had an argument about uh him adopting his kids. I just don't see an argument like that happening between them two. But like I said, these guys probably might be faking it, faking the funk, and doing it all for the clout. All right. But I did want to briefly talk about it because it's been heavy. Well, not heavy on my mind, but it's sort of been heavy on social media, particularly in these YouTube social media streets. All right. And so that's it. That's all I got for too early for this podcast. I like to normally at this time, if someone has a comment, I read the comments at the end of the live stream. Unfortunately, there are no comments. Okay. So let's go ahead and just end this podcast while I'm able to end it. First, I'd like to thank all the live viewers that came and stopped by for a couple of minutes or a couple of seconds, or maybe a cup of hot tea or a cup of coffee, and came and just sat and chilled and listened. I really do appreciate all the people that had came by thus far as the live audience goes. I also like to thank the people that are going to ultimately watch this podcast on the re-air. I really do appreciate you guys doing that from the bottom of my heart. And no matter if you watch this live or on the re-air, and if you're not subscribed, please hit the notification bell. Share this content with your friends, family, as well as your followers. Okay. Select all when you hit the notification bell, because sometimes when you hit the notification bell, it's not tied to all. Sometimes it's tied to whatever what was pressed the last time you hit the notification bell. All right. So also like to say real fast, real quick, be sure to subscribe to my other YouTube channels. Real fast, real quick, Just My Opinion podcast. I uploaded a video yesterday about Skip Bayless apologizing to Shannon Sharp, what that truly meant in Skip Bayless's mind. I'm also going to have a video on Just My Opinion podcast YouTube channel about Shannon Sharp, You might want to check that out. So subscribe to that YouTube channel as well. Hit the notification bell and share it with your friends, family, and followers. I also have a comedy skit channel called Everybody Hates Chris. Go check that channel out as well. Subscribe to it. I just do some skits and things I do on TikTok and Snapchat and Instagram. So go check that channel out for yourself. You dig? All right. Also, I have a gaming channel. I'm Chris the Don Gaming. Check that channel out. I do all types of multiplayer videos. Live streams. I'm also going to be doing a video on that channel. I'm gonna probably premiere it sometime this week about the current events in gaming news, as well as a live stream over the weekend. So please be well aware, well informed, and subscribe to that channel as well. I'm also I have a podcast that's on iTunes, Spotify, the Anchor app, wherever you get your podcast indulgement from. I'm Chris Don One Podcast. Keep it lit in the podcast algorithm, by the way. All right, when you subscribe to the podcast. Let me see. Anything else? I got TikTok. I got Instagram. I got Twitter. I'm Chris the Don One at youtube.com. That's my Twitter. No, it's my Twitter handle on Twitter is I'm Chris the Don. I'm Chris the Don One. So go check that out. Now, if you hit the link in the description, it's probably going to send you someplace else because I done changed the handle on Twitter. But nevertheless, just find me on Twitter. And if you got any ideas or anything you want me to talk about on either the I'm Chris Don One Podcast or Too Early for This Podcast, I would read it and see if I can do an episode on it. All right. So I got Cash App. I'm going to have my Cash App and my new Twitter account on the thing below, the thing that be running. If you guys want to Cash App me a few dollars, all right, I appreciate that. Thank you kindly, all right. And as far as this channel go, I'm going to upload an episode from I'm Chris the Don One Podcast that I've been promising you guys. I'm going to upload it maybe Friday, maybe Saturday. I don't know. But your boy's been mad busy. And like I said, I appreciate everyone that done came by. Anything else I can talk about? That's pretty much it. Now, there probably won't be too early for this podcast episode next week because it's the holidays. I might do one video and that's it. And if this is the only episode for this year, I'd like to thank everyone that has been subscribed to the channel, that hit the notification bell, and that's plugged into Too Early for This Podcast. Too Early for This ish podcast. And I want to wish everyone a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And we probably won't be up and running. Unless something really is current event that is big. We probably I know next week I won't be doing anything live stream wise. And that's pretty much until next year. All right. So I really do appreciate everyone that done came by. And people that's going to listen to the re-air of this. I really appreciate you guys doing that as well. And like I said, hit the comment section. Okay, if you don't want to go through all those other links, hit the comment section. Tell me what you want me to talk about, next week. And tell me what you want podcast related on Too Early for This podcast, which want me to start um, doing from here on out with this podcast. And I really do appreciate everyone that done came by. I do apologize that it's not the podcast is not on a certain day all the time. Now out of all these podcasts, I have been trying to do it on Tuesdays. I know today is Wednesday, but I think Wednesday is the sweet spot for this podcast because I'll be having other things that I'm doing. But I really do appreciate everyone that came by. I really do appreciate the people that's going to listen to the re-air of this. Please hit the comment section if you have thoughts and opinions about the topics that I mentioned. If you have ideals that you want me to do moving forward, if just hit the comment section and tell me, and then I'll try to do my best, my due diligence to get back at you. All right, but it's your boy, the host with the most. I do not brag or boast, and I'm coming to you guys live from Coast to Coast. It's your boy, I'm Krista Don One. I will see you when I see you. Hope everyone has a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And I will see you guys on the next episode, which will be the new year. All right. So I'm up out of here. Outro.